Hi everyone, the Season 24 patch 2.71 patch notes have been finally announced. So after over 2 months in the season, we have them. They already hinted that we'll drop them, and it just happened. So I've been going over this with my stream for a few hours, looking at everything and discussing and like seeing the various ideas that come out of it. There is a new season theme which actually looks very amazing, and a big inner rework along with some nerfs to Crusader and Bone Spear. I'll show you. So first of all, the season theme. This one is quite exciting. They're introducing Ethereal Items. Those are kind of remembering the Diablo 2 experience, and we don't know exactly what they will look like, but they will be weapon types with higher stats, and they will also have a class passive power and a class weapon legendary power. So the way that I imagine this is that you're gonna find a weapon, and it will have probably a different beam and a different color and all this stuff, and it's gonna have like a stronger value on like the damage range and maybe some stats, and then it's gonna have like a random class power. So the interesting part about this is that you can actually get two-handed affixes on a one-handed weapon like this, but more on that later. Here are a few of the details about the ethereal weapons, so you can also check out the link in the description to read up on everything. I don't want to go word by word now, but essentially drop rate is somewhere between ancient and primals. We don't really know anything about that then, so we have to test and see how many we get. But considering you can farm around 1 primal per hour on average if you're really fast, I would estimate that you'll also see around 1 to 5 ethereal items per hour if you go at like the maximum efficiency, depending on the drop rates. So we'll see about that. There are 3 unique items per class, in total 21. You also get a transmog if you collect all 21, and you can use the transmogs from those weapons in all seasons and on non-season going forward. A special thing about this is that the ethereal items will disappear after the season ends. So I imagine they'll be extremely powerful and extremely valuable, to the point where some builds will actually swap around some of their items, especially the weapons, to actually make this work. So overall, I'm very excited to see this. I think that's going to be amazing. It's going to be a nice grind, and it's going to put a bigger focus on the item grind, which I believe is always a good thing. So this is definitely what Diablo needs. And maybe in the future they're also gonna implement, a way to make an item ethereal, or maybe some other kind of like permanent change after the season has ended. So I'm very excited to see that. I'm also really curious if this is gonna produce kind of like two-handed meta season, where a lot of builds that don't necessarily need to dual wield might go for a two-handed weapon, because if the damage range rolls really high, then this is gonna be amplified by not having a regular weapon in your offhand. So quite excited. Let's see. Next up we have the skill and the item changes. This is the inner rework. So first of all, they buffed Fire Ally and the Earth Ally, and they reworked the Inner's Mantra set to actually be a Mystic Ally set. So previously Monk had the issue that it had 4 sets that were all pushing with Tempest Rush. Now it's only 3, and we have this. This also kills a few builds. For example, Inner Exploding Palm is completely gone now. Inner Uliana combo for 7-sided strike is completely gone now, and obviously that Inner Tempest Rush is also gone, because the set only buffs Mystic Ally damage now, so it's not a generic set anymore like it was before. For the set, they buffed the Mystic Ally to also give you damage reduction, so you're probably going to be very tanky because you summon a lot of those. On the 6th piece now, you gain the passive abilities of all 5 Mystic Allies, which is a bit of life regen, a bit of damage, a bit of spirit regen. So overall nothing really crazy, but now you can resummon your chosen Mystic Ally up to 10 times by attacking enemies. So essentially you choose 1 rune, and then you get 10 fire allies or 10 earth allies or 10 water allies. Right now it seems like the water allies is going to be the best if they don't do any other changes to the runes or the skills. The thing is that we've been doing some testing, and there are some pet multipliers that only work for the water ally rune and not for the other runes. It seems like they want you to play with some of the other runes, especially fire and earth ally, because those also were changed, but currently they don't benefit from pet multipliers, which gives them a heavy nerf compared to water ally. So this is right now the setup to play, but I expect this is gonna get changed so they're all equalized and you can kind of like choose the runes a little bit. They also changed the 6-piece bonus a little bit, so now it's not generic damage anymore. The number stayed the same, 950% per Mystic Ally, but this will actually increase to quite a lot if you use the Fire Ally, where they split in two. So you get 19,000% damage there, and for the other runes you will get 9,500. So we'll see exactly which one will turn out to be the best. Crusader's Boots was already a Mystic Ally Boots, so you get 2 Mystic Allies. I assume you're gonna have 2 permanently, and then you can summon 8 more up to 10. So that's probably how it's gonna work, but we'll see. And they also get a pretty big damage increase and are able to attack with their active forms longer. So this could mean literally anything. This could mean that the Earth allies just keep going around as a boulder. Right now they transform into a boulder and then they go around and hit enemies with that. It lasts 8 seconds, so maybe that's gonna be much longer. Then there's the water ally that transforms into a wave and that hits enemies a few times. So this might happen more often. And then there's also the fire allies which split and then explode after running to an enemy. So maybe they can re-explode multiple times. So we'll see about that, but right now we can't say anything about it. And Bindings of the Lesser Gods. Enemies hit by a Cyclone Strike take 400% increased damage from your Mystic Ally for 5 seconds, and split fire allies gain 5 times this bonus. So it seems like they really wanted to play fire allies, but as I said, right now this is not happening because of those, I don't know if it's bugs or if it's just forgotten or anything, but I assume they're gonna be equalized, so the fire allies might be a really good contender here. I have some defeat panels here if you wanna check them out. So I just made like some quick push version, a speed version, just so it could give a bit of an idea of what a set would look like. Most likely you're gonna use a Shenlong's setup here, so you could try to generate a lot of spirit. You're gonna go for a lot of attack speed, a lot of area damage on cooldown, and then you just have those Mystic allies that just explode with the fire ally, or that like go around as a boulder with the earth ally or something like that. So we'll see exactly what that means. So there's also 2 nerfs that I mentioned at the start, which is the Aegis of Valor. This one doesn't look like a nerf at the start, but you need to pay close attention. Previously those stacks were multiplicative, so you got a total of 800% damage. Now you get 125% 3 times for a total of 475% damage. So this equals around a 3-tier nerf. Not really bad, considering Aegis of Valor is basically the strongest set in the game, or the second strongest. So this is totally warranted, I feel. There's also a Bone Spear nerf though, and that one is quite heavy. So they reduced the multiplier from 10,000 to 6,000. And the big part is they removed the triple bonus for simulacrums, which are already doing the majority of damage. So this is a pretty massive nerf of 10 tiers for Bone Spear, which doesn't make it super terrible. So right now, you know, there are still many 150 clears with Bone Spear, and it's gonna drop down by 10 tiers. So we're probably gonna see like high-end clears of something like 142 or 143 or something like that for the very high end. But it is definitely a pretty big hit to Bone Spear, and it's definitely out of the veterans, it's out of the 4-man push meta. We're gonna push either with the Crusaders or maybe the new Monk stuff, most likely. Firebirds didn't receive a nerf actually, so there's one little change here to the mirror images, and there's a little icon displaying how many you have alive, which I guess is some nice quality of life. Personally, I would have really liked to just remove mirror images from the set, and I think a lot of people kind of share that. I actually made a video talking about exactly this the other day, and considering that Bone Spear and Heaven's Fury are getting nerfed, I'm really surprised we're not seeing one for mirror images as well. But okay, this is what we have now, maybe in the future. And this is also about it here for the patch notes. So overall, I think some of those changes are nice, especially the nerfs. Maybe the Bone Spear is a bit over the top. I would have really liked to see mirror images removed, but okay. The inner rework seems very exciting. So I'm very hyped for that, and I'm also very hyped for the season theme. I think the ethereal item is gonna be amazing. So here I have a little preview of the items that I think will be part of the system, where you find the item and it's a blank item, and then it randomly rolls a passive and a class legendary weapon power. So I think this only counts the class weapon powers that are class specific. So I wrote all of them down here for all the classes, just to give you like a quick peek basically of what's there. So especially Crusader, Demon Hunters have a lot of items, and then it's like a mid-range Monk, Witch Doctor, Wizard, and Necromancer has almost nothing because they only have a few scythes. But basically this is the entire list. You can also find it in the description. I just copy pasted it there for you if you want to take a look and maybe look for yourself and see what you might want to try to find, might want to maybe use in a build or something. The interesting part here, as I mentioned in the beginning, is that you can use a two-handed power on a one-handed weapon, and this will actually have a bit of an effect on certain builds that will now start using a different weapon equipped or in the cube. At least I believe this is how it works. We haven't seen any of those weapons yet, so we have to wait for the PTR next week, and then we have to try for ourselves. But for now, I believe that there's going to be this list of builds that actually change weapons or even get another weapon, because previously they were not really using any like special weapon or anything. And as you can see, this mostly applies to the Barbarian actually. So every single Barb leaderboard build actually gets a benefit from this, because suddenly you can have a two-handed affix on the one-handed weapon, or you can get a one-handed affix on a two-handed weapon. For example, Ambo's Pride, you might be able to do Whirlwind next season with a two-handed weapon equipped. I think that would be amazing. Really reminiscent of the Inferno and MP10 times when everyone was playing Whirlwind. Also, Frenzy could do some crazy stuff here with Furnace in the cube, with a one-handed Bastion Revered, because there's no real offhand. Yeah, and it's similar for most of the other builds here. IK Hoda, for example, you can get a Gavel of Judgment, and all the other Hoda builds as well. Same with Tempest Rush on Monk, so you can get a balance in like a one-handed version maybe, instead of like a Picksticker or whatever people are using, Azure Wrath, and then this would allow you to get a Furnace or a Flying Dragon there. So overall, it doesn't really give you like really crazy cube options, but especially Furnace on some of those builds can be really handy, or the Flying Dragon as well, which is a big multiplier here for Tempest Rush. So we'll see how this will play out, I guess. The other classes I have checked and I haven't really found any potential there. It really comes down to those builds that just have a weapon that is kind of useless, like the Picksticker or Burning Axe Zankus or something, and really want to have a second two-handed weapon. And this is not really the case very much. On the Crusader, for example, a lot of builds actually have a Norwald set equipped, so there's no way for any ethereal weapons unless they become extremely powerful, which is doubtful. But there might be a few cases where you might want to swap from Norwald set to this because of some trades you can make. Same with Demon Hunter. Basically every build requires a quiver, so yeah, you're gonna wear the ethereal weapon that you want, but otherwise you can't really do crazy combos or anything. And it's kind of similar on all the int classes that have offhands that are usually required for their builds. So to sum it up, overall I like the patch, I like the inner rework. That's gonna be quite exciting, I believe. So we're gonna see it on PTR and see how it works, but it's gonna be a quite fun and quite strong build, most likely, just looking at the numbers right now. I think the nerfs are alright, maybe a bit less for the Bone Spear would have been fine. Maybe something for the Firebird, okay. I really like the ethereal weapons, so that's gonna be interesting because it's actually gonna change some builds, and who knows how strong they will be. And they're gonna have, a lot of excitement involved, because you have to see, what affix to roll, what passive to roll, what the stats to roll. So I think the item hunt is gonna be amazing next season, and we're gonna see, or we might see something afterwards as kind of like a permanent feature, I hope. I'm also very sad that there's no buffs to a lot of the underperforming sets, so especially after the leaderboard change, I expected a massive round of buffs. I expected like 10 or 20 builds to be buffed here, but nothing of that happened. I'm not really sure why. Maybe we'll hear something about it or whatever, but I'm gonna talk about this in a separate video, because this is gonna be its own topic for now. So either way, this was the preview of the PTR. I am very excited to try it, even though there's not that much new stuff, but the ethereal items are really gonna keep it interesting, I believe. So I hope you're also excited. I'm really interested to see how it works on the PTR next week, so make sure to stay tuned. And also we're gonna keep you updated on maxwell.gg, of course, so keep an eye for the updates for our theory crafting. I'll also make some videos for sure, and obviously we're also gonna update all the guides for the season 24 version with ethereal items at some point. So hope you liked this video and this overview, and I'll see you guys next time.